What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Fractal Fun with me, Dan. Today I'm looking at a preset where a couple of days ago I was in a group, a Fractal group on Facebook, and I saw someone getting they looked like they were getting quite frustrated with their FM9, where they dialed in a preset, they took it to a gig, it was working in sound check, and then when they went to actually start playing, there was no sound coming through the PA. And I thought, that sounds a little bit odd, because if it's working in sound check, you haven't really changed anything. It shouldn't just stop working, especially if you've taken it home and played with it and it's working and all that stuff. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, do you want to send me over your preset and I'll take a look at it and I'll see if there's anything that I can spot that might be causing a bit of an issue. And he's a really nice guy, sent it over, asked a couple of questions, and I thought, hey, if I'm going to have a look at this, why not do a video? So I checked out his band online. To me, it looks like they kind of do classic rocks, quite sort of like a heavy sound. And I thought I'll grab my Custom 22 that's got the bare knuckle VH2 in the neck and the Holy Diver in the bridge, quite classic rock sounding, and jump into the preset. Here we go. So this is his preset. All I have done is I've changed the name of it because it had his band name in it, so I thought I'd change it to just band to give him a bit of privacy. And I've made a copy that we can work on so we can retain his original and go from there. So there's a couple of things that I can see already that are a little bit odd. We've got an extra amp block in there and an output that aren't connected to anything. So they're not going to be doing anything. We've got clean scenes. So we're using scenes with different names on them, different amps. Let's take a quick look. So it looks like we are using the Soldano clean for cleans, and we are using the JVM red channel OD1, so that's going to be quite a heavy sound. Right. So straight away, that is a very quiet signal. Let's head over to the output block and see what we've got going on. So normally when I'm building a preset, I'm trying to aim for around 0 dB here on the output levels. And you can see that's a lot quieter. Let's have a look at the rhythm channel. Again, very quiet. That is barely coming through my FRFR, which is odd because it is cranked. So let's have a look. Scenes. Okay, so we've got some different scene levels here. Which we're using different channels for different scene levels just for the clean, which is otherwise turned off. So I don't think that's overly necessary to have a separate channel for a separate scene level, just for the clean sound. And okay, an output 2, which is going to the PA. So just to explain what's going on here, he is using output 1 is going to what he said was a Synergy power amp into his Engel cab. Output 2 is going direct to the PA. I'm pretty sure I saw some footage from the gig where output 1 was working because he had his cab mic'd up on stage. I don't know if he ditched the FM9 and went through something else, but Output 1 there was definitely sound coming out of his cab on stage, which is cranked very, very high to 19.1 decibels, and output 2 to the PA is at 0. He did mention he had to turn down output 2 because the sound engineer said there was too much signal going to it, but you can see there on the one that's actually going to my cab and to the PA system, there's hardly any signal at all. So let's switch over to the new preset and let's dig into this. So first of all, let's get rid of these. They're not connected to anything, so they're not doing anything. Amp wise, we're running everything quite low on the EQ, but those are settings that he's dialed in for his tone, so I'm not really going to mess with that core amp sound that he's got. The delay, we've got a minus dB, and on the amp we've got a minus. So all of this is just getting quieter and quieter. So let's, as a starting point, set this back to 0 because that's cranked. And let's copy these scene settings over to output 2, because at the moment his cab on stage will be getting things like scene 3 is a lead sound that will be getting a volume boost, but where through the actual PA system it won't be getting any kind of volume boost or anything. So I'm going to fast forward this bit for you guys. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to ditch on output 2 having separate channels for different scene levels just for the cleans, because you won't need that at all. Right. Okay, so we've copied that over now, so when he's playing and he's switching between the different scenes in his preset, he will now get the volume differences that he'd programmed in that were going through his cab. That's set to 0, that's set to 0. This is quite quiet, so I'm gonna just bump the volume up on the amps. And hopefully already we should get so we've already got some more volume, but it's still very, very quiet. The delay was set to -8, so even though that's turned off, that's still going to be having an effect because the signal's going through it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these time-based effects in parallel. I'm going to show him this video once I've finished so he can see what I've done. The reason why I'm doing this is because you've got the unaffected signal now running straight through to your output, and then you can blend in as much delay and reverb as you want. So now that I've taken those out, we've already got a lot more volume. It's still a very odd sound that's coming out through my FRFR, so we'll investigate that in a minute, but let's sort these out first. So we're going to kill any dry sound that's going through. Let's find, so the clean is using both of these. So what we will do is set that back to 0. And then what we're doing is we're now using the mix to mix in as much of this as we want to your unaffected signal. So I'm going to turn it down a little bit because it might be a little bit more pronounced up here. So we've still got more volume and we've got the delay back in there as well. So let's hit save on that. Reverb will bring that down a touch because again, I think now we've mixed it in this way, we might have a little bit more reverb than we had before. Now let's take a look at these amp sounds. So we've got more volume, but it's still a touch on the quiet side. We've also got a lot of low end coming through. So this filter we can see is trying to put a bit of a low cut and a high cut on. Is this used at all? So it's not, but we can achieve what that was going to be doing. So this will help just tighten things up through the PA. Essentially, obviously what people are hearing out the front is what really matters here. If they're hearing a great tone, they're going to have a great time. So we're putting on a low cut of 100 and a high cut of 9,000. That's going to take care of the really low rumbly stuff that's getting you lost in the mix, giving you ear fatigue for stuff that you can't even hear. All that kind of stuff will scoop that out because the guitar is a mid-range instrument that lives in the mids. So that should tighten things up a little bit as well. And again, that's very, very quiet. Let's have a look. There's nothing, I mean, obviously the gain's down quite low, master volume's not overly high, but it shouldn't be that quiet. Let's have a quick scroll through and see if there's anything that jumps out. Okay, so for some reason all of these are turned all the way down. So that is basically just taking out every frequency, which just means there's barely anything coming through, which is why it's so quiet. I don't know if he's done that on purpose. I might have a chat with him later to say, why did you do that? Instantly loads of extra volume. So I think that is what was causing that massive drop in volume and probably why he had to crank output 1 up so high and output 2, why not a lot was coming through it. There is still a lot of low end rumble in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take that down a bit and take that up a little bit. Now, he may need to have a look at, I'm not familiar with the power amp that he's using, which is a good point actually. So power amp modeling is on. So you're running power amp modeling into a power amp. So the power amp that you're running into, you want to try and get it as flat sounding as possible as a starting point, because you're already running power amp simulation into it, which you need because you're going straight into the PA system. If you turn that power amp modeling off, then everyone through the PA system is just going to get a really weird sound. So make your power amp as flat as you can make it, and then just tweak it a little bit for your individual cab sounds so that you can get a sound that you like through your cab on stage, which is mostly just going to be for monitoring. Right, let's take a listen now that we've scooped out a little bit of low end and added some mids and some high end. that sounds a lot more natural in terms of what a guitar amp would sound like. So I think that is going to solve a lot of your issues. Let's hit save on that, and if we go back to the clean channel, these should now be a lot more balanced. Clean channel is a little bit quieter compared to the overdrive channel, but in his original preset, I believe that was the case anyway, is that the clean, from what I remember, was about -9 and the overdrive was -11, so there was about a 2 dB difference between them anyway. So we bumped up the clean channel a little bit, and let's take a listen to this lead sound. Obviously a definite volume bump there in terms of the two sounds, a 7 dB boost. I would maybe take that down just a little bit, but I will leave that up to you if you want to go in there and turn that down just a tad. What else have we got? So we've got lead. Clean reverb, and then we've got rhythm chorus. Very kind of 80s classic rock style tone there. We can see this is kind of tickling the red. I don't think that's overly an issue. If it's too loud for the sound engineer, then as I say, on the actual unit itself, there is a little output knob on there, so I would just turn that down a little bit for the feed for the desk. But I don't see a problem with where it's at the moment. We've got rhythm, delay, and chorus. Let's take a listen. So I think that solved a lot of the issues that there were with this preset. So from where we started, if I just save that and go back to the original preset and go to that rhythm tone, that's where we started, and this is where we've ended up. As I said, I think that solved a lot of the issues. The main issue there was that the output EQ was turned all the way down. There were a few other things as well, with the outputs of the different blocks being turned down even more. The output blocks themselves, obviously the scene levels weren't set going to the PA system, so all of these lovely volume jumps, volume boosts, all that stuff wouldn't have translated over to the PA system. There's still a few little things that I would personally do. Like I might take the delays down a little bit more so that they don't get so muddied in together, maybe with the reverb as well, but that is to taste. But other than that, I think that's a good starting point. I will send that over to the chap to have a look at and see what he thinks as a starting point. Happy to talk to him a little bit more about the kind of sounds that he was going for. But yeah, other than that, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let me know if you want to see me do more of this kind of stuff. If you are a Fractal user and you've got a preset that you're really struggling with and you can't work out why, and you, by all means, if you want to email it over to me at dan@guitargeargiveaway.co.uk, I'm always happy to take a look and have a little bit of a mess around, or do a video like this on your preset as well. Even if you just got a preset that you think sounds really cool and you want me to do a video having a look at it, absolutely fine by me. But yeah, like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.